Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm going over today's trade recap. How I ended up low-key getting tunnel vision today and ended up losing $500 today trading because yeah, I made a mistake today. This is definitely a poor trade, so good good because we learned from it. But let's go over it. So coming into New York session, I'm gonna go back here. Overall, coming into New York session, I had a pretty neutral bias, and my conditions were coming into today where if market were to open lower and resweep the low, which was the data low, by the way, this 830 low was a data low, inside of this 30-minute fair value gap, and then we were to bounce out of there, then I would have been looking for longs off of that. And yeah, that was sort of like my only condition coming into today, because as you can see above here, we don't really have any higher time frame key levels. We do have pretty good draws, being New York session highs, like relative equal highs and equal highs above us, so really good draws higher, and we also had some pretty good draws lower as well. Also super premiumed too, so it wasn't ideal. We had equal lows at London, we had triple equal lows at London with the S&P 500, so the draws higher and lower were both pretty good. And yeah, so with that in mind, I just had a pretty neutral bias and I was just looking for conditions to be met and then go from there. So coming into market open, market ends up opening higher here, so we had a 930 PO3 higher, and we had this 1 minute inversion, I think it was, to the downside, which I did end up fading. Simple reason being is because there's just no key level here to send us lower. There was a decent sweep of liquidity, but again, I just wasn't a huge fan of this. This setup ends up getting break evened, I believe. No, it actually doesn't. So this setup ends up just purely just losing here, and then we had a resweep, so we had 945 open higher and manipulate out this 930 high, and then from here we ended up getting a 2 minute inversion to the downside, which I know a good few people took. But again, I didn't agree with this setup, simply being because there is no higher time frame key level to send us lower here, and there's just low resistance liquidity at your stop loss with also really good draws above your stop loss here. It's just a pretty risky trade in my opinion and doesn't have the greatest narrative behind it. I'm not a huge fan of this, but this trade does end up playing out. And then from here, we actually did end up sweeping out that data low, and we did have a double SMT inside of this. So we had an SMT with this range low, and we also had an internal SMT here with 930's lowest point in price, which was the 934 low here. So we had a double SMT here, and structure wise above, I feel like this was just a failure swing. So I was actually looking for longs here, and then we ended up 10 a.m. ended up opening here, and then ended up opening higher, and then we ended up getting a stop hunt here inside of this 30-minute fair value gap with another SMT. So at this point, I was super convicted in long, so I ended up taking, I think it was this next candle, which was this 1 minute CISD, which was also a 30-second inversion. I ended up taking this, and I was targeting the entire range here. My break even was going to be pretty soon because we had a 5 minute fair value gap here. Now the setup ends up getting instantly slammed, and the reason why the setup does get instantly slammed is simply because of the lack of the higher time frame narrative that I had with this trade. Um, this trade, like, I mean, we also had this 5 minute short here, which again, I just don't really think it's that great because it's an unsponsored 5 minute off of low resistance liquidity above. All of this was just bad, and I personally think today, in my opinion, was definitely a no trade day. This was definitely a fade day, but I ended up taking this because I got tunnel visioned on the idea of this condition meeting out. And mechanically wise, this was an extremely good setup. We had an SMT, we had a double SMT, we had a stop hunt, we had a good liquidity to target above us. And all that. But overall, if we've been looking at what the market has been doing, it's essentially just been screaming bearish down to this point. Because what did 930 do? 930 opened higher, made a move lower. What did 945 do? Opened higher and made a move lower. What did 10 a.m. do? Open higher and make a move lower. So I'm essentially going against the higher time frame candle openings, which is I'm going against the PO3. And overall here we did have, I think there was a, yeah, just at my stop loss here, like, I mean, I don't really think this is too bad because it's whatever, but I think the main thing wrong with this was just the lack of the narrative that I had on this trade. I do think this was definitely a setup that I should have avoided and not taken, but mechanically wise, it was extremely good, and it was aligning with my conditions that I set for myself pre-market. I think we ended up just making a move lower here and failing to sweep out London session lows, and then from here, the original idea ended up playing out, and we ended up being bullish and running to those draws, but just with really poor price action. Overall, like we inversed this 50-minute gap, failed to sweep out London lows, and from here we just started to blitz higher towards those draws that I wanted to see get hit, and we ended up taking a previous day high as well. So it definitely is a bit unfortunate, but 100% something to learn from, because with these trades, like I'm going against the PO3 and I love the PO3. So me going against something that I love and that I know plays out very well is kind of just poor from me. And definitely something I should have avoided. This loss is 100% avoidable. I think overall today was simply just a no trade day. Um, Trade of the day, to be honest, I guess trade of the day was probably this 5 minute short here. And you would have ended up banking on this short if you had your stop loss here, just going for like a 1-to-1. This would have ended up playing out pretty nicely. Um, and then yeah, if you didn't go for a 1-to-1 and tried to be greedy, you would have gotten break even. But overall, I do think this was probably trade of the day, and that kind of says a lot because in my opinion the setup really wasn't that good. But yeah, so unfortunate loss today, but a good loss because something to definitely learn from and journal. So yeah, that's basically going to be it for today's trade recap, guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I will have my Instagram, Discord, and TikTok plugged in the bio, so you guys can go check them out. And message me if you want to talk to me personally. And yeah, we're going to be documenting the entire journey to profitability here. So excited for the future of my trading journey. And yeah, except for that, I will catch you guys in the next video. It's been a pretty, I'm sort of in the stage of trading right now where I'm just learning, refining, learning, refining, learning, refining. I know I'm pretty close to getting in the direction to where I want to be with trading. But yeah, it's a slow process. It's not a get rich quick scheme. This shit is really difficult. You have to be patient. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the learning aspect of today. Definitely a good loss to take to learn from. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. So peace out, and I will catch you on Monday because I will not be trading tomorrow since I am working, so I can't be trading. And probably will be full porting an eval on CPI though, just because why not? But yeah, I wish you guys luck for your future in trading as well. And yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. Peace.